So a lot going on there, and to join us to discuss the implications of all those cuts is Jennifer Steele. She's a professor at the School of Education at American University here in Washington, D.C. She is joining us now from Arlington, Virginia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Elaine.
Now, why is the Trump administration targeting the Department of Education for efficiency cuts?
Well, I think the Department of Education has come in the crosshairs of DOGE because it was founded in 1979, for context, under the Jimmy Carter administration, founded by Congress to consolidate a lot of the work that had been initiated under the Great Society initiatives of the 1960s with Lyndon Johnson. So these initiatives focus on providing funds to low-income schools across the country and providing funds to individual students through Pell Grants and student loans so they can go to college, and also on enforcing civil rights. And so I think these are seen as progressive, having a progressive mission, and I believe that's why the Department of Education has come under scrutiny.
What impact will shutting down the Institute of Education Services have on research, but also education policy?
Well, it is ironic that this initiative called DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, would want to harm the efforts that we have in this country to have world-class data about what is happening with children from early childhood through national surveys that are conducted all the way through high school, through college, into the workforce. These include surveys about the skills of working adults and how we're doing relative to other countries. So when we don't have these data being collected, then we are no longer leading the pack in terms of data transparency that helps us make good decisions. And that was the whole mission of Institute of Education Sciences when it was founded by George W. Bush in 2002.
I mean, it's supposed to help improve how we help students and what we need to do in the future, right? So how will losing that access impact student achievement going forward? I mean, how long before we see any kind of impact there?
Well, we are still coming out of a rough patch academically in K-12 education since the pandemic. And we've seen that with the National Assessment of Educational Progress results that just came out a couple of weeks ago. So the truth is, across the United States, we're the largest economy in the world, a national economy, and we're the third largest country in the world. So we have a very large and complicated decentralized system. About 90% of school funding and school systems everything is run at the local level, and a lot of the funding comes from localities and states. So only about 10% comes from the federal government. What that means is that in K-12 schools, it's largely going to be business as usual. Where we lose out is in research and development, and of course in cuts to the federal workforce who have a mission of making sure that funds that need to go to needy folks are provided, and beyond the Department of Education, the federal workforce, which is about 1% of U.S. adults, has a mission of making sure that things run well and efficiently in this country. Things like farm subsidies, infrastructure, food safety, aviation safety. And so what we see happening is really beyond what was projected in Project 2025. It's really an attempt to freeze and dismantle the federal government.
With all of this new information coming out and more potential cuts as we wait and see, is there something that parents and students and teachers who are really worried about what could happen next, is there anything that we could look to see or try to predict any impacts that they might need to prepare for?
Well, I think that states are going to have to play a really important role here in making sure that funding remains equitable, that students' civil rights remain protected. There's going to be a huge role for states, and there's going to be a role for philanthropy to, I think, supplement some of what the federal government has been doing. But the federal government as I mentioned, this is a large and powerful country. So if that is a missing piece, then our education systems are hamstrung. And so I think this will not be felt as much at the level of teachers and kids, but it will be felt at the level of systems and ensuring that our systems run efficiently, and that students who need funding for college, now that is at the level of students and kids. We need to make sure that funding for college remains available and transparent so students can further their education.